In today's meditative experience, we're going to discuss the entirety of the realm of those who believe they are a human being in a body at this time. And we're going to dispel that myth quickly by saying that those of us who are spiritual in nature are never really touching down on the ground here. We're always way out there, and we learn a new way of expressing ourselves to people because we're so painfully shy and humble that it's almost impossible to discuss. I'm going to do something right now I've never done, but this is something I had on the way out the door, a piece of paper under a crystal, and it's the way I feel, and it's the way all of us who are mystical, spiritual, experienced life. We're not really here ever. And I'll go into great depth and detail to explain that. And this I had hidden under a crystal on the way out the door. I am different. I am a mystic, an instrument of the Most High God. I am painfully shy, humble, selfless. Daily doings are difficult. And that explains, for any of us that are super sensitive in any area, in any creative area, that's who we are, because our imagination, our thought process, our experience is quite different than the everyday workings. But for those of us who are involved directly with the God that actually is God, it's horribly painful to be this shy, this humble. This is for all of us who experience this. So we develop ways to, as a man, I've done all the different disciplines and so forth that men do, but I'm never really present. I just do it in order to communicate with my brothers and sisters, right? The mystical experience is a delicate lightness. It's like early morning clouds that are infused with the gold of the sun. It's just, we literally experience that purity, and it's that beauty, and it's golden, and it's soft, it's slightly, keeps us aloft in our emotions, our thought, our experience. Being a body in a place at a time is, well, it's almost impossible, but we make it work somehow. We see through everything. We carry those we love and care for near us that are dear in some way or the other to the other shore. We try to bring everyone forward to this sense of divinity, of spirituality, because we love, we care, and I say we carry them, but everything is directed. Every person, every circumstance falls into our experience at the right time in the right place, even though they might be pure evil. It's the devil trying to get in, and God allows it, because from that's the learning curve we'll get, is to deal with like sublime purity and beauty, like my buddy Gerber here, or the opposite. I have a buddy that I carried for 4 years recently, and I turned and I would see the devil manifest within him, and I love him forever, and one day when he's ready, I'll heal him, and many other friends. I say I can speak for God, you can speak for God, but that's the thing outside of this tape right now I've never, ever said in my life or even thought, because it just, even our thoughts of God are more delicately inclined. They're a wisp and a wonder and a simplicity. But we're not naive, we're not unaware, we're not creative or intelligent or courageous in any sense. It's just that we do it in such a light-handed way. I mentioned great art. We'll talk about a Van Gogh or whoever who put God in some paint on a piece of canvas. I remember the first time I saw that, and I've been many different places seeing great art, and I remember the first time I saw that, my sister Marlena took me to the Philadelphia Art Museum, and I just sat down. I could hardly move for an hour, and I had Marlene cover for me because I couldn't move. I was just locked in awe of such beauty, such purity, to put divinity whether it's in clay or whatever, or on canvas. It's the same thought we have for the one we love, that I'll have for my teacher Kathleen, who was the first person I saw that like caused me to actually die in humility, to meet someone of that divine stature. To this day, I think of my mom, my sisters, and her past, and my sister, and it's they're here. No one ever died. The point of this and saying how humble we are is that this world is not our life at all of it. There are 8 billion souls. Most are lost. Many might be lost in eternity, but they're not lost. If you're spiritual, you realize that we have no identity with the physical form. I don't know how the hell I've gotten along over these years. I do not take care of myself or this or that, the other. Recently had every imaginable problem you could imagine, and somehow I'm riding out of it. We learn in the early years, and then we see the actual presence of something I'll call Satan, I've called Satan, or the devil, and you'll realize that people are motivated by this evil force. And our sensibilities are much more delicately attuned than the everyday. That's why I brought up great art. When you can appreciate that, you can appreciate what's in your own heart. And it's more delicate than love itself. Can you imagine such a thing? You know what it feels like to be in love. It's much more delicate than that. But being in love is that's the ray of the divine sun. That's the ray of the true you that lives infinitely beyond this insipidness of this present time, this world. There is nothing solid in your soul. It's not that you won't die. No one ever died. You cannot die. The entire world is called a mistake. It's evil. There is a demonic force behind it. And if you're strong enough and clear enough in your own humility and kindness, then you'll be as tough as Gerber here, and as quiet and calm, and it won't matter. You have courage. You'll literally be God's presence. And you can never actually think it, but you are. And when you know God fairly well, you'll know that God is equally humble towards us. Do you imagine that? But it's humility that's infinite. Because God is everywhere infinitely. And I'm talking about all the spiritual realms, which I can see now clearly. But this world, time, is the outlaw of the universe of good. There's no sense of time in your soul. So you're going to feel this all during your life, and that's why I say you'll run into this circumstance, to that circumstance, and what I call the teachers, the holy ones, will guide every step. And 99% of it is horrible, right? Even the good stuff is kind of egregious. I can make myself work into any kind of group of people or circumstance. That's because over the years I've been taught. And when I'm not sure somewhere and it's really out of whack and kind of dangerous, the right thought or circumstance or force of personality will move through me and I'll make it work. And so I say this with confidence because I've worked through every circumstance and situation, that you will be guided, you'll be safe, and will be hurt many times, mostly emotionally, psychologically, by the insipidness of the everyday thought stream of people who believe this present time, this world, anything about it has to do with God. We're here humbly, quietly, decently, purely, humanly, first of all, to make it work for those that we find worthy. And they might be 1 in 5, 1 in 30, 1 in 50. Someday you'll meet 3 or 4 people together. I know when I spent time in Tibet, it was like in Nepal and India, I would meet groups of people who were all in this place. And it would be such a thrill I remember what a heartache it was for me when last time I walked down the mountaintop. I knew I had to go back home to South Philadelphia because I knew I could express these things and teach, and I had the language and so forth, so I knew I was to bring it home. Even though I was born with it, even though I knew I was never born. So I can go to time and place and instantly now to this beyond time and place, always. I'm saying this for all of us. We are so shy and humble, and somehow what I call the teachers, the angels of our better nature, they're with us. Things work out in a very pure way. And we'll develop many, many means, ways of helping and of healing, of depossessing our friends and loved ones. Depossessing is a rather tough word, and that's more for people who actually are involved with the dark force. So we have to relieve ourselves, first of all, of any guilt or tension about our responsibility in the makings of this world. Because the world works on that guilt 24 hours a day, and we hide it, and that's how people get caught up in the dark force. Understand that it's okay to be painfully shy and humble, but you hide it. You delicately make yourself in and out. This situation, that circumstance, it's like a little speedboat you have. You're this quiet lake. But when you have to do something or communicate to someone, you get your speedboat. Sure, I'll do this, this is how we do that, and then you come back here and you fall into the depthless lake, a lake without a bottom that expands forever. And that lake's made of ecstasy, and joy, and kindness, and wonder. And again, your intelligence, your sensibilities are so remarkable. That's why I talked about great art. Go look at something that's really, truly great art. Or think about your true love, or your mom. Look in your puppy's eyes. My friend Zachary the cat, the most humble, kind person I've ever knew. At some point you'll find God looking back at you in the same way you look when you search, when you care, when you love, when you need to build a greater foundation of perception. You are the Holy One, the humble one. And I say this with a great regard, and I'm going to make a very astounding point that this whole world, forget all the histories, the religions and so forth, the mystery of this world is that it's at its denouement, its very end. It will be over in your watch. Simply become as quiet and powerful as my buddy right here is, my buddy Gerber, and you'll see through it all. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to be anything. You just don't relate. You become fearless. Like my buddy, he's the toughest guy in a gym here. He's a trainer, and etc. And he trains world champions, and he's just a delicate, kind, humble. He should be an artist rather than a trainer, but in the end, he's both and all and everything because he cares. It doesn't require more than a humble heart to know him, the only God. And from that, without being afraid of Satan or the things, I've been in a room with the great drug dealers and all, and somehow the guy at the head trusted me, and so I put my 45 up here, and I said I'd make sure when I was trusted, and I was just a friend, just walked into circumstances like that. That's happened 5,000 times in my life. Not that, but something like that. And God will make you work through it so you know that none of this has any power over you. So when Satan will actually manifest at me different times. That's why I mentioned friend recently, that I humbly waited until he would begin to non-evaluative sense. When you have to depossess someone who's got a really bad being, you have to allow them to open up first with it, and then you can use all these skills and all these non-evaluative tools where you are so quiet. My mind is quiet, my heart, my emotions, So I can listen to someone, I can guide something without their feeling one hairline of my judgment. So you allow someone to freely breathe. I did this with combat veterans and so forth for many years, with friends from my teacher Rosamond, French, and so forth and so on. And you will free the whole world by not believing in it. It's not here, it never was. It's an infinitesimal particle of nothingness in eternity, because you'll see through it with this, what to us is spiritual is a curse or humility. But when you're quiet alone, you'll see through everything and have many, many, many divine revelations. And you realize by not relating to anything in the world, it will end on your watch. Do you understand? This is over. It's your time. There's only you, the purity, the kindness, the humility of you before God, within God, and of God. You're literally God's eyes and his heart and his soul and his mind and his body in this world to end this whole travail. How could a God of the universe have anything to do with pain or trauma or fear? To understand it's something, an apparition that had to happen somewhere, or it didn't have to, it happened in eternity. And as a mystic, we're aware of it, infinity of God's light. So the idea that this is like one subatomic particle in an infinite universe, I'll say that now, I see all that forever, and it's and all of us who are spiritual, we're aware of this delicate bliss, and sometimes it's overwhelmingly powerful. I felt for days on end this golden light, and when I sat in the Dalai Lama's temple alone for 6 hours one time, I was very sick, I was near death, but I was sitting there, my buddy John Hills brought me in there, and just as all this golden divine light that I've had in revelations many times in my life, and so the horrors that population was going through at the time, and the whole world today. It's not meant to be, and it's all illusion. So we practice an illusory meditation practice to experience an illusory experience of enlightenment. Don't relate to anything, become very powerful, don't be afraid of it, and at different times the devil himself will appear because he can't get you with his tricks, so you'll still look there, you'll have the world championship, look him in the eyes and give it nothing, and he'll flee from you. And you can actually depossess him or Lucifer, as I've done recently. And now I'm working into all the different thought images. It's all thought form. It's not a big deal. That's the meditation. That's the course you're on. That's the path you've taken. That's the enormous presence of the real you. You spiritually, you survived this long in this world. This is a hell. Don't give it another thought. Let yourself disappear into the purity and simplicity of Holy God, our Father. You're his, not theirs. Don't worry about any detail. It will come to you. Do you understand? It will come to you. Wherever you are, whatever you do, every little millisecond is guided. You're his. You own the future. The future is the expansion of your soul unto the light living. God bless you. Thank you for listening. Thank you, sir.